Good evening, traders, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about how to make your first $10,000 from Forex trading. I've done videos in the past on how to make $10,000 per month, but this is assuming you're already throughout your trading career. You could be a few months in, a few years in, and you were looking to make 10K per month consistently. However, if you're just starting trading and you just want to make your first profits, how should you go about making your first $10,000? In this video, I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you how I did it myself first, and then go through what I would do now, given there are so many new opportunities for new traders, intermediate traders, and professional traders to make vast amounts of profits relatively easily. And when I say relatively easily, I mean in comparison to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I'd imagine 20 years ago, it was a lot harder to make $10,000 from scratch, whereas now you can make it in a couple of months starting from zero. And let's say you make your first $10,000, don't assume that you're just going to be able to replicate that over and over and over again. You're going to have tough periods, you're going to have losing streaks, there's going to be times where things just aren't going your way. And the reason I'm actually bringing this up is one of the points I have written down is once you've made the 10K, don't blow it instantly. If you're watching this video and you've made a few £1,000s or a few $1,000s trading, don't blow it. Keep it and save it. That's the best advice I'll give probably in this whole video. But if you're interested in making $10,000, then keep watching. So we're going to start with building a strategy, and people might skip this bit, but I feel like it is the most important aspect of your trading and people overlook it. They hop from strategy to strategy because they see a new holy grail that someone's posted, a new holy grail here, a new holy grail over there, and they think that trying to find the perfect strategy is the best way to go about it. But I actually disagree. I think you should pick one and stick to that route. Later down the line, you can start testing and going into different ways of trading, maybe adding a different strategy to your portfolio. But I feel like picking one and sticking to it is the best way possible. And when I say picking one and sticking to it, I don't mean you have to just trade that forever. You can adapt your strategy, you can make it more profitable, but just by picking one and mastering that, then I feel like that will make you more money and it'll be easier than trying to master 5 different strategies taught by 5 different people at once. I just don't think that's going to work out. And I also think if you are new to trading, focusing on one pair is the best way to go about trading. When I first was trading, I was trading gold. XAU USD was the only pair on my watch list, and that's all I was trading. And trading one strategy on one pair, I was able to make so much money. And I was able to trade small accounts to large accounts relatively easily. Because once you know and you have the data from your strategy, let's say you've done 4 years of back testing, you then have live data. You have data on which setups are A+ setups, which setups are maybe a B setup. The win rates are around 40%, but you're still profitable overall. But then you have the A+ setups. You have a very, very high win rate on them. And this was kind of the route I would take to pass prop firm challenges and to do my account flip videos on the channel. So I could put in £100 into account and flip it to £400-500 on a couple of A+ setups, or maybe even one A+ setup. And the reason I was able to do this is I had the data already that actually showed me the likelihood of this winning is this percent. The likelihood of me making money on this trade is this percent. The expected value on this trade is this much. And if you have that data, everything becomes so much easier. But by developing that data, if you're doing it over 5 different strategies in comparison to just one, then it's going to be so much trickier. And it can all be a waste of time. If one of them works and 4 of them don't, you've now spent so many more hours testing something that you're not even going to use. So by picking one that you can see fits your trading style, the hours you can trade, the free time you have, then it's perfect. You're obviously not going to want to pick a New York scalping strategy if you're working during New York session or you're not available. It's just not going to end well. You can try and adapt it to a different session as much as you want, but if that strategy that you're trying to learn is based on one session, then you won't be able to do it. And obviously I'm going to say, if you want to learn how I trade, then you can sign up to the mentorship in the description. And if you actually go on the linktrading.com website, you can see the prop firm payouts from our members. Some of them in the tens of thousands and some in the $100,000 range. People have made over $100,000 from a £400 investment. So if you're looking to learn how I trade, check it out on the link down below. And one thing that I found quite funny is, let's say I'm speaking to a trader who is struggling. So someone's DM'd me on Instagram, for example, and they'll say they're struggling with their strategy. They don't really know how to move forward and progress. So I say to them then, what data have you collected? Can I see what you've collected to see where you're going wrong? They can never show me the data. They don't have the data. They haven't backtested years. They haven't forward tested. They haven't collected data on any of their strategies. And this immediately tells me why they are failing. If you don't have data, you don't know when you're entering the markets what you're doing. It's as simple as that. It's like going onto a racetrack, having never driven a car before and expecting to drive really fast around all the corners. It's just not going to work. So if you don't have the data to back up what you're actually doing in the markets, firstly, you won't have confidence, and secondly, it won't work. If it was that simple to go into a trading environment with no experience, no data, no confidence, and make money, then everyone would do it. Why would I spend so many hours and months backtesting if I didn't have to? And also, if you are testing a strategy, one mistake I see so many traders make is something called curve fitting. So let's say you're trading, or you backtested a 12-month period. That 12-month period could be trending for the whole 12 months. But if you've only tested those 12 months and you're developing a strategy and refining it for those 12 months, if you then have a bear market or you have 6 months of consolidation, the markets are not going to trade the same as if it was a bullish trend for 12 months. So you've now refined your strategy to one condition in the markets by curve fitting. So everything's been refined to that 12-month period. But then if the condition next week changes or in 6 months changes, your strategy isn't going to work. It obviously could work better, it could work worse, but it's not going to be in line with the results you've had from your testing. And that is an immediate sign that your testing is wrong. So you haven't tested the strategy properly if the live market results are way different to your tested results. That's when you immediately know you need to go back to the drawing board and see where you're going wrong. So let's say you have your strategy now, but you obviously need to make money. So there are two routes that you actually have to take: prop firms and personal capital. Personal capital route is if you already have a substantial amount of money. If you're looking to make $10,000, you're going to need an account that is over $10,000, obviously. You can obviously trade a $10,000 account, but then you have to make 100% profit. I'm assuming to make 100% profit, that will take you a few years. And based on the demographic of my audience, the majority of you are from the range of 18 to around 35. So the majority of people in this age, based on statistics, you won't have hundreds of thousands of dollars saved up to trade. But let's say you do, then if you're trading a $50,000 account and you make 20% in a year, you have made your $10,000. It is that simple. But you need to know what your strategy returns on average per year based on your testing, based on your live testing and everything, to then allocate the right amount of capital. This could be to cover all your expenses. Let's say your expenses are $20,000 per year. If you're trading with a $20,000 account and that's your only account, then you're not going to be able to make the profit required. So to make that, let's say you do make 20-30% per year, for example, and you're trading with $100,000 of your own money, then this is slightly more feasible. It's obviously cutting it quite fine because you can have periods of drawdown and it can kind of go plus or minus, a few percent. So I wouldn't have that as your main income. But let's say you're scaling to a few $100,000, then it would be a lot easier. But I'm assuming many people watching this video don't have multi 5 figures or even 6 figures capital saved up to trade. So you're going to want to go to the prop firm route. But before you go to a prop firm route, I would suggest trading your own money first. And this is something that I did when I started trading. Many people now go straight into prop firms with no live capital experience and they wonder why they are failing. The reason I think this is because prop firms are so gamified that it kind of makes it feel like gambling. So you have that profit target, you have minimum trading days, you have an overall drawdown, you have a daily drawdown. These are all things trying to restrict you and kind of making it harder to actually trade. And then once you've reached that profit target, you then reset the account. Then you have to pass another one. Then the account resets. Then you have to make profit. Then the account resets. So it's kind of like reaching checkpoints. You die, go back to the next checkpoint, for example. And especially with prop firms, they have the leaderboards, they have prizes, everything's wanting you to try and trade more to make more profit. Whereas if you go into an account, let's say you only have $5,000 to your name, and you go into a prop firm with $500, you're then trading $100,000. So it makes it feel like, oh, well, I'm trading $100,000, but it only cost me $500. So I can kind of trade it as if I'm only risking $500. But then you're actually, if you make 5%, you're making $5,000. So people treat it as it's kind of a game and not real money. Whereas if you put that $500 into your personal account, and obviously that's 10% of your net worth, and you lose 25%, you've lost, 2.5% of your net worth. And that feels a lot more painful, losing your own money on a trade rather than spending $500 on a prop firm and blowing it, in my personal opinion. So let's say you do have $5,000 and you put 500 into an account. I would only buy a prop firm challenge from the profits made on that account. Firstly, you're going to gain experience with live money, and live money psychologically affects you very, very differently to prop firm capital. Prop firm capital is just demo money. There's not real money. If you lose, the account can just be reset. That's fine. You don't have to trade out of drawdown. If you go minus 10%, you just buy another account and you start back at 100K. With your own money, if you go down 10%, you then have to trade out of that drawdown to get back to break even. So it gives you good experience trading in drawdown, gives you good experience trading with real money, and it gives you good experience in the markets. So let's say you trade for 6 months on this account and you make around 10% profit. This is obviously very, very good going, and you made $50. With this $50, you can purchase a 10K account with a prop firm of your choosing. I'm pretty sure that is the rough pricing. They could be cheaper, could be slightly more expensive, but that's just on the top of my head. And you're going to trade this 10K account, and you're only going to scale up to a 25K or a 50K account with profits from that 10K funded account. And alongside this, you're going to still want to be trading your $500 account and use this alongside. So obviously, if you have a good strategy, you should be trading your personal account, growing it. You should be trading your prop firm capital, both growing, and they make nice income. You can scale up from 10K, 25K, 50K, 100K, 200K, 400K, a million. Depends on the prop firm you choose. But I feel like that's the best way to go about it. And this isn't to get to 10K. This is to start making profit, so then you can get to the larger accounts. And if you want to make 10K, I feel like you have to have at least a $100,000 account. Even with a $50,000 account, it's not too difficult, but to make that, you have to make 25-30% if you account for the profit splits and the conversions. Obviously, I always have to convert it because I am in the UK, so I have to convert it to pounds. So if I want to make £10,000, I actually have to make a hell of a lot more based on the conversions. So let's say you're 100K account and you average around 3% per month. You'll need around 5 months to make 10K. The best thing about trading is if you make 10K from trading, it feels like you've made 50K from a job, for example, because you haven't been controlled by a boss. You control your own hours, you control everything pretty much. And your actions are reflected in your trading performance, which is the best thing about it. So if you've made $10,000 from trading, then you've done well. You've done very, very well. You're doing better than 99% of traders, most likely. And obviously this time is cut in half if you are trading with a $200,000 account, and obviously in quarter if you are trading a 400K account. And this is only done by scaling. So if you scale to 100K account, it takes you 4 or 5 months, for example, to get to that level of withdrawing $10,000. You then have $10,000 that you can use to reinvest into a 200K account. You could invest 10% of your 10K withdrawal, for example, into a $200,000 account. Obviously, you still have your 100K account too. So you have a 200K and a 100K trading alongside each other. So let's say you're trading with both of them now. It would only take you, 2 months to make over $10,000. as opposed to that 5 months before. And that just shows you how money makes money, basically. So you started and it took you 5 months to make 10K. Now by using that 10K, only 10% of it, you can now make the 10K plus in 1 or 2 months. And that's the beauty of trading. It really does scale and snowball once you get to a decent level. And the last point I want to make in this video is what to do with your profits. I'm pretty sure I've done a dedicated video on the channel to this topic of investing profits and not just spending them immediately. And I just want to reiterate it here now. People often say I repeat things in my videos, but I feel like people need to hear it. If you're going on the stats that 90% of traders fail, some people say 90, some say 98%, 97%, whatever the stat is, that means that 1 out of 10 people watching this video will make money from trading. So if I can say things that go into your brain and you've said, and then you've realized, oh, I remember Will saying that a few months ago, or in the last video, he said about this too, so it must be important. That's what I'm trying to do. If I can say to you, if you make $10,000, don't just spend it on a watch, don't just spend it on a car, don't just spend it on clothing, and you listen to me and you actually save that money, maybe build up a 6 or 12 month emergency fund, or you invest that money into an index fund or into an ISA, and it actually builds your capital, then that is the goal of my videos. I want to help you as traders by saying what you need to know. I'm not going to give you advice if it's not correct. I've been trading for 5 years, so I feel like I'm pretty qualified to actually speak about going from 0 to your first 10K, for example, as I did that probably 4 years ago. And if you are a trader or you're interested in finance in general, then you'll know the power of investing in assets instead of liabilities. And if you do want a separate video on how I invest my money, my investment portfolio, how I basically split up my profits, then comment down below. And if this video did help you, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.